Right, we're going to try to read 2 Kings 11. And when Athaliah, the mother of Ahanozi, saw that her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all the seed royal. But Jehozebel, the daughter of King Joram, sister of Ahaziah, took Joash, the son of Ahaziah, and stole him from among the king's sons which were slain. And they hid him, even him and his nurse, in the bedchamber from Athaliah. Alright, so that he was not slain. And he was with her hid in the house of the Lord 6 years. And Athaliah did reign over the land. And the 7th year, Jehoiada sent and fetched the royals over 100 with captains and with guards, and brought them to him into the house of the Lord, and made a covenant with them, and took an oath of them in the house of the Lord, and slew them, and showed them the king's son. And he commanded them, saying, This is the thing that ye should do. A third part of you that enter in on the Sabbath shall be keepers of the watch of the king's house. And a third part shall be at the gate of Shur, and a third part at the gate behind the guard. So they shall keep the watch of the house, that it be not broken down. And 2 parts of you shall go forth on the Sabbath, even they shall keep the watch of the house of the Lord about the king. And ye shall compass the king around about, every man with his weapon in his hand. And he that cometh within the range, let him be slain. And be ye with the king as he goeth out and as he cometh in. And the captains over the hundreds did according to all things that Jehoiada the priest commanded. And they took every man his man that were to come in on the Sabbath with them, that they should go out on the Sabbath and come in to Jehoiada the priest. And to the captains over hundreds did the priest give King David spears and shields that were in the temple of the Lord. And the guard stood every man with his weapon in his hand around about the king, from the right corner of the temple to the left corner of the temple, along by the altar and the temple. And he brought forth the king's son, and put the crown upon him, and gave him the testimony, and they made him king, and anointed him. And they clapped their hands and said, God save the king. And when Athaliah heard the noise of the guard and the people, she came to the people into the temple of the Lord. And when she looked, behold, the king stood by a pillar, as the manner was, and the prince and the templars by the king. The templars by the king. And all the people of the land rejoiced and blew with trumpets. And Athaliah rent her clothes and cried, Treason! Treason! Alright, that's trumpeters. I was trying to sounded out as a wind. But that was trumpeters. But Jehonah the priest commanded the captains of the hundreds and officers of the host, and said unto them, Have her forth without the range, and him that followeth her kill with the sword. For the priest has said, Let her not be slain in the house of the Lord. And they laid hands on her, and she went by the way by which the horses came unto the king's house, and there was she slain. And Jehoiada made a covenant between the Lord and the king and the people, that they should be the Lord's people, between the king also and the people. And all the people of the land went to the house of Baal and broke it down. His altars and his images broke they in pieces thoroughly, and slew Mattan the priest of Baal before the altar, and the priests appointed officers over the house of the Lord. And he took the rulers over 100, and the captains and of the guard, and all the people of the land, and they brought down the king from the house of the Lord, and came by the way of the gate of the guard to the king's house, and he sat on the throne of the kings. And all the people of the land rejoiced, and the city was in quiet. And they slew Athaliah with the sword beside the king's house. 7 years old was Jehoshaphat when he began to reign. All right, we're on chapter 12. In the 7th year of Jehu, Jehoshaphat began to reign, and 40 years reigned he in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Jebelah of Beersheba. And Jehoash did that which was right in the sight of the Lord all his days, wherein the priest introduced him. But the high places were not taken away, and the people still sacrificed and burnt incense into the high place. And Jehoash said unto the priest, All the money of dedicated things that is brought into the house of the Lord, even the money of every one that passes the account, the money that every man is set at, and all the money that cometh into any man's heart to bring into the house of the Lord, let the priest take it to them, every man of his acquaintance, and let him repair the branches of the house, wheresoever any branch shall be found. But it was so that in the 23 years of King Jehoash, the priest had not repaired the branches of the house. Then King Jehoash called for Jehoshaphat the priest and other priests, and said unto them, Why prepare ye not the breaches of the house? Now therefore receive no money of your acquaintance, but deliver it for the branches of the house. All right, so it's breaches, not branches. Okay. All right. So he noticed that all the money was not being put towards the house of the Lord to keep the upkeep. And the priest considered to receive no more money of the people, neither to repair the breaches of the house. But Jehoiada the priest took a chest and bored a hole in the lid of it, and set it beside the altar on the right side of the one cometh into the house of the Lord. And the priests that kept the door put therein all the money that was brought into the house of the Lord. And it was so, when they saw that there was much money in the chest, that the king's scribe and the high priest came up, and they put up in bags, and told the money that it was found in the house of the Lord. And they gave the money, being told, unto the hands of them that did the work, that had the oversight of the house of the Lord. And they laid it out to the carpenters and the builders that wrought upon the house of the Lord. And 2 masons, and hewers of stone, and to buy timber, and hewers of stone to repair the breaches of the house of the Lord. And for all that was laid out for the house to repair it. Howbeit, there were not made for the house of the Lord bowls of silver, snuffers, basin, trumpets, any vessel of gold, or any vessel of silver, of the money that was brought into the house of the Lord. But they gave that to the workmen, and repaired therewith the house of the Lord. Moreover, they reckoned not with the men into whose hand they delivered the money to be bestowed on workmen, for they dealt faithfully. The trespass money and the sin money was not brought to the house of the Lord, it was the priest. Then Hazael king of Syria went up and fought against Gath, and took it. And Hazael set his face to go up to Jerusalem. And Jehoash the king of Judah took all the hallowed things that Jehoshaphat and Jehoram and Ahaziah his father, king of Judah, had dedicated, and his own hallowed things, and all the gold that was found in the treasure of the house of the Lord, and in the king's house, and sent it to Hazael king of Syria, and he went away from Jerusalem. And the rest of the acts of Joash, and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And his servant arose and made a conspiracy, and slew Joash in the house of Millo, which goeth down to Silla. For Jozachar the son of Shittimith, and Jehozabad the son of Shomer his servant, smote him, and he died. And they buried him in the city of David, and Amana, his son, reigned in his stead. I'm sorry, I'm not too good at this. Alright, so we are on 13, and we will look at tomorrow night. Thank you guys for listening. If y'all can handle my bad reading, and I know it's bad, I appreciate it. If you stuck this far, give me a comment if you did.